to the Nerd Den here once again, and in today's video I've just got a short little video speculating about the finale for Doctor Who, and I'm speculating a little bit more on next week's episode, which is the last episode of Season 2, the second part of the two-part finale, the Reality War. Now, obviously the Reality War, we don't really know too much about what's going down, apart from the fact that Unit's been defeated, the Doctors have also been defeated, everyone's kind of just been defeated, to be honest. It's your typical finale. And that, well, apparently there's a reality war. We don't really know what's going down, but we do know that Conrad and the two Ranis are behind it, and that there's another villain as well hiding in the mists that will probably be revealed at the end of this week's episode, Wishworld. So, yeah, honestly, there's a lot of chaos. But I want to kind of bring the discussion back to a certain Susan Foreman, who is the Doctor's granddaughter, who made a cameo appearance during last week's episode, the Interstellar Song Contest. You know, Susan hasn't really had a lot of spotlight over so many years. Okay, yeah, we've had Big Finish audios, and yes, Susan made a return in the Five Doctors, and, you know, the Dimensions in Time, if you want to count that, but in terms of main continuity, Susan hasn't had a reappearance since the Dalek invasion of Earth, which was, yeah, a very long time ago. It was 1964 when that aired. So, you know, the Doctor promised to go back for her, and he still hasn't, technically, because Susan's cameos were through hallucinations and psychic projections, so we still don't know what the purpose of that is. But I know since that cameo was aired, people have been speculating on whether Susan is going to return. Now, I'm going to put this image on screen, and it shows Susan wearing a different costume to what we saw in the Interstellar Song Contest. Now, my theory is that we are not going to be seeing Susan for a lot of this finale, and I think she'll only be appearing in the Reality War. And I feel like she might be appearing right at the end. Like, maybe she makes cameos throughout, similar like psychic projections. Maybe she does have a little psychic projection in Wishworld. But I think she will appear towards the end of the Reality War, and maybe helping the Doctor through a regeneration, or if the Doctor doesn't regenerate, maybe there's like an open ending, so where the Doctor actually goes to visit Susan wherever she is. Maybe she psychic projects where she is at, and he goes to see her. Because, you know, at the end of the day, they haven't seen each other for a very long time. And this scene as well will kind of be a parallel to the end of last season, where Ruby met her mother and the Doctor took Ruby to meet her mother, but instead the Doctor takes himself to go meet Susan after all these years, and we get that reunion between Susan and her grandfather, which I think will be lovely and so beautiful as well. But whilst we are on the topic of Susan as well, why do I think she is returning in the finale is because they posted this clip on Facebook of her departure, and the caption simply reads, "He might yet keep his promise." So, yeah, again, he might just keep his promise indeed of coming back one day. So, maybe that could potentially be what happens in the Reality War. And then there is one more thing I want to say as well. There's been a little bit of a theory going around about the inclusion of Space Babies, which was the first season, the first episode of last season, for the first season of this new era. And obviously, yeah, Space Babies, obviously babies in space that can speak, they're, you know, genetically modified, that sort of thing. And obviously they're making a return in the finale. Now, people have been doing a little bit of wordplay. Susan was referred to as the Unearthly Child, and that was the name of her debut episode back in 1963, the first ever Doctor Who episode. The Unearthly Child, Space Babies, they sound very similar. So maybe Susan could be, in fact, a space baby, maybe. Again, I'm just going to throw that one out there to see what you all think. But, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Obviously, that would change up, you know, Susan's mythology, but also not just Susan's. Like, maybe it's to do with Time Lords as well, because there's been a lot of theories that Rani is trying to rebuild Time Lord society by growing Time Lords, and that's how the Space Babies exist. Again, we don't know for sure, but that is apparently how that episode is going to tie together with the Season 2 finale. But with all that being said, thank you so much for tuning into today's video. If you are new around here, please click that like button and subscribe for more nerdy content. as we are so close now to 8,000 subscribers, which I would love to reach by the end of next week, Sunday the 1st of June, the day after the finale airs. That is my goal. So I'll see you all next time. Thank you very much for all support, and goodbye for now.